You have mastered the art of vanishing while standing right in front of people. It is a peculiar, invisible talent, sensing the exact moment a conversation teeters on the edge of becoming real, and then, with the practiced precision of a ghost, sabotaging it. You see the warmth in someone's eyes, the tentative reach of a genuine connection, and your immediate instinct is not to lean in, but to recoil into the safety of your own shadow. You are not cold, nor are you indifferent, you are simply terrified. You have built a fortress out of silence and calculated distance, convinced that if you never let them see the wreckage inside, you remain invincible. Yet, in the quiet hours of the night, when the world stops its frantic pace, you are forced to confront the suffocating reality of your own design. You are the architect of your own isolation, holding the keys to a door you are too frightened to unlock. You tell yourself it is for the best, a necessary survival tactic honed through years of quiet disappointments, but deep down, you know the truth. You are not protecting yourself from the world, you are starving yourself of the very thing you crave most. The coffee cup on your desk has gone cold for the third time today. You stare at the surface of the liquid, watching the reflection of the ceiling light distort as you tap your finger against the ceramic. Your phone is face down, a habit that feels less like a choice and more like a reflex. There is a message waiting, a simple invitation to meet, to share a space, to bridge the gap between two separate lives, but your thumb hovers over the screen, paralyzed. Your heart begins that familiar, rhythmic thumping against your ribs, a dull ache that reminds you of how much energy it takes to keep the gates closed. You begin to overthink the aftermath of a yes. You map out every possible failure, every scenario where you might say the wrong thing, reveal too much, or worse, have them see the cracks in your armor. You imagine them looking at you with pity or, more terrifyingly, with the kind of clarity that strips away your defenses. The chaos inside your head is a storm of what-ifs, a relentless tide that threatens to pull you under, yet your face remains a mask of serene composure. You are a master of the polite decline, the vague excuse, the ghosting that feels like mercy but tastes like ash. You walk through the streets, observing the way others laugh without reserve, the way they hold hands or lean into each other without the visible tremor of hesitation. You feel like an anthropologist studying a species you were meant to belong to but lost the language for long ago. Every interaction is a performance, a series of calculated steps designed to keep everyone at arm's length. You have learned that if you remain unreachable, you cannot be broken. If you never start, you cannot be finished. This logic is a cruel prison, one with walls made of your own insecurities. You recall the last time you let someone in. The memory is a jagged shard, sharp enough to cut if you linger on it too long. You remember the vulnerability, the feeling of being unmoored, and the subsequent withdrawal that felt like a return to sanity. Ever since then, you have treated your emotions like contraband, hiding them beneath layers of irony, distance, and meticulous avoidance. You are not living, you are surviving your own history. The irony is that you pride yourself on your independence, yet you are utterly dependent on the approval of a phantom version of yourself, the one who is never hurt, never vulnerable, and perpetually alone. The silence of your apartment is heavy, a physical weight that presses against your lungs. You turn on the lights, not because you need them, but because the darkness feels like an invitation to think too much. You pace, your footsteps muffled by the carpet, your mind racing through the litany of missed opportunities. You tell yourself that this is who you are, that this armor is your identity, but the lie is beginning to fray at the edges. You see the people you've pushed away and you wonder, in the rare moments of brutal honesty, if they ever even noticed you were trying to protect yourself. Perhaps they just saw a person who didn't care. Perhaps your desperate attempt at safety looks exactly like the cruel indifference you have spent your life trying to avoid. The realization is a bitter pill. You have spent so much effort ensuring that you wouldn't be rejected, that you have effectively rejected everyone before they ever got the chance to make a choice. It is a lonely victory. You are safe, yes, but you are also hollow, a vessel that refuses to hold water because it is afraid of the leak. The weight of your own caution is heavier than any rejection could ever be. You have become the curator of your own museum of lost potential, surrounded by the echoes of conversations that never happened and connections that withered on the vine. You finally pick up the phone, your fingers trembling slightly. The cursor blinks in the text box, a rhythmic pulse that matches the ticking of the clock on the wall. You could type something honest. You could say, I am scared. You could say, I want to reach out, but the space between us feels like a canyon. But instead, you delete the words before they appear. Your instincts take over again, that ancient, defensive mechanism firing in the dark, urging you to retreat to the familiar comfort of the void. You close the app, turn off the screen, and the darkness rushes back in, absolute and suffocating. You have won another round against the prospect of being known. You sit in the center of your quiet, controlled existence, and for a fleeting, agonizing second, you recognize the scent of your own grief, the mourning of a version of yourself that could have been brave enough to lose. You are finally, perfectly, alone. The truth is that you aren't hiding from them, you are hiding from the reflection in the mirror. You have spent so long fearing the damage others might cause that you never noticed you were the one holding the hammer. The connections you cut were never a threat, they were the only things keeping you anchored to the world of the living. To be seen is the most terrifying thing you can imagine, yet to remain unseen is the slow suicide of the spirit. You realize now that the pain of being vulnerable is transient, but the pain of a life lived in the shadows is permanent. You have achieved your goal of total protection, but you have accidentally built a tomb instead of a home. You are not protecting your heart, you are simply allowing it to beat in a vacuum, slowly forgetting the rhythm of another soul. And in the dead of the night, you understand that your strength was always just a shroud, and your independence was merely the art of losing yourself before anyone else could. I built a wall to keep the hurt away. And trapped myself inside to rot in gray.